For centuries, humanity's wealth was dug from the dirt, a brutal, finite, and bloody business. The great fortunes were built on what could be torn from the Earth's crust. But Dr. Eva Rostova, a visionary astrophysicist, knew this was the thinking of cavemen. She looked up. She saw the asteroid belt not as a field of dead rocks, but as the true, glittering diamond necklace of the solar system, a source of resources so vast it was functionally infinite. While the world fought over the last scraps of the planet, she was drawing a map to the treasury of the gods.
Her method was not brute force. It was elegant. She called it the gravitational lasso. It was not a harpoon or a net. It was a fleet of small, autonomous probes that would attach to a target asteroid, and, by generating a subtle, synchronized gravitational field, would gently, patiently nudge the asteroid out of its orbit and into a stable, high Earth parking orbit for clean, zero-gravity mining. It was the difference between a miner with a stick of dynamite and a watchmaker with a pair of tweezers. It was a technology of immense, quiet, and revolutionary grace.
She presented her vision to the Earth Barons, the heads of the world's 5 largest mining and resource conglomerates. They met her in a private club, a place built on the profits of coal and oil, a temple to the old ways. They listened to her presentation on clean, infinite cosmic resources, with the bored amusement of kings listening to a court jester. The consortium's chairman, a powerful, ruthless man with hands stained by a century of terrestrial exploitation, picked up a heavy, solid gold paperweight. "Doctor," he said, his voice a low growl, "this is real. This is power. What you are selling is a science fiction fantasy. We move mountains. You are chasing space dust." Her government funding was cut the next day. The Earth Barons had made their calls. Her project was officially labeled fiscally irresponsible and technologically unproven. She was locked out of her own lab, her team disbanded. She was left with nothing but the scraps of her research budget, enough for one single long-shot launch, a launch to the only target she could afford, a small, uninteresting, carbonaceous asteroid in a difficult orbit, an asteroid cataloged as C-type, zero value. It was a suicide mission, a final, desperate roll of the dice with the entire universe as the casino. The launch was not a grand, televised event. It was a silent, anonymous whisper from a remote spaceport, a ghost slipping into the night sky. For months, Eva monitored her lone probe's journey from a makeshift command center in her small, cluttered apartment. She was a phantom commander of a one-ship fleet. The world and her enemies had forgotten about her. On the day the probe was scheduled to intercept the worthless asteroid, she was alone, watching a single blinking dot on a screen, her entire life's work hanging on the fate of this one desperate mission. The gravitational lasso engaged, the microprobes attached. The slow, patient process of nudging the asteroid began. As the probe's deep-scan sensors began to analyze the asteroid's composition, the first data stream came back, and it was an anomaly. The readings were impossible. The asteroid, cataloged as a simple carbon-based rock, was showing a density and a magnetic signature that were completely off the charts. Eva thought it was a sensor malfunction, a final cruel joke from the universe. She ran a remote diagnostic. The sensors were perfect. The data was real. With trembling hands, she activated the probe's microdrilling and spectral analysis package, a feature she had almost cut to save money. A tiny drill extended from one of the microprobes and bored into the asteroid's dark crust. The spectral analysis results came back a moment later, and Eva Rostova's world and the world itself changed forever. The asteroid was not a carbon rock.
It was a single, solid, massive, near-flawless crystal. Its core was composed of 99.9% pure, stable, room-temperature superconductor, a mythical material that scientists had only theorized could exist. She had not found a mine. She had found a miracle, a material that could enable lossless power grids, quantum computing, magnetic levitation, a technological leap of 1,000 years. The Earth barons were fighting over scraps of coal in the dirt. She had just captured the literal philosopher's stone, an object whose value was not measured in billions or trillions, but in the entire future technological progress of the human race. The worthless asteroid was the single most valuable object humanity had ever encountered. And now, thanks to her gravitational lasso, it was gently, quietly, and inexorably drifting towards Earth, and it belonged entirely to her. Eva knew she could not keep this secret for long. She also knew that announcing it would make her the target of every government and corporation on Earth. She needed to control the narrative. She did not publish her findings in a scientific journal. She sent a single encrypted data packet to a single person, the world's most respected and famously neutral financial journalist. The packet contained the irrefutable data, a real-time feed of the asteroid's trajectory, and a simple, stark message. The world's economy is about to become obsolete. A new era is arriving in 60 days. The journalist's story was the biggest bombshell in human history. The world reacted not with celebration, but with a wave of pure, terrified panic. Global markets crashed. The value of every terrestrial commodity, oil, gold, copper, plummeted to near zero. The empires of the Earth barons, built on a century of scarcity, evaporated into thin air in a matter of hours. The world was holding its breath, staring at the sky, waiting for the arrival of the Rostova asteroid, the object that had just rendered all their earthly wealth meaningless. As the world spiraled into chaos, Eva made her next move. She broadcast a single, live, global message from her apartment. She appeared on every screen, a calm, authoritative figure in the heart of the storm. She did not make demands. She presented a plan. She announced the formation of the Kepler Foundation, a new, global entity that would be the sole custodian of the asteroid and its material. She invited every nation to join as an equal partner, to collaboratively study and utilize the superconductor for the benefit of all humanity. She was not acting like a magnet. She was acting like a stateswoman, the founder of a new, post-scarcity world order. The Earth barons and the governments they controlled made one last, desperate attempt to stop her. They declared her actions a threat to national security, branding her a rogue agent and her foundation a terrorist organization. They sent a military vessel to secure the parking orbit where the asteroid was scheduled to arrive. It was a final, brutish act of the old world, an attempt to seize the future by force. But they had underestimated her. They thought she had one probe. She had 100. The standoff in orbit was the shortest war in history. Faced with Eva's technological superiority and the overwhelming pressure of global public opinion, the military vessels stood down. The world's nations, seeing the inevitable, had no choice but to join her Kepler Foundation. The arrival of the Rostova asteroid was not a corporate takeover. It was the first shared act of a new, unified global civilization. The Earth barons, stripped of their power and their wealth, faded into irrelevant obscurity. Dinosaurs made extinct by a single, brilliant rock from the sky. The age of the superconductor began. The material from the asteroid, now named Rostovium in her honor, was more miraculous than anyone had imagined. It triggered a technological renaissance on a scale unseen in human history. Lossless power grids ended energy poverty overnight. Quantum computers, once the size of rooms, now fit in a phone. Maglev trains, floating silently on cushions of magnetic force, connected continents. It was a golden age of clean, quiet, and impossibly fast technology. It was the future she had dreamed of, delivered. Eva Rostova, now the most influential person on the planet, did not build a corporate empire. She built a scientific one. The Kepler Foundation became the world's leading research institution, dedicated to solving humanity's greatest challenges. They used the immense wealth generated by the Rostovium to fund projects in clean water, sustainable agriculture, and interstellar exploration. Eva herself, eschewing politics and fame, returned to her first love, the quiet, patient, and endless work of discovery. Her story became a foundational myth for the New Age. She was the woman who looked at the emptiness of space and saw a future of infinite abundance. She faced down the titans of a dying world, not with weapons, but with a better dream. She proved that the greatest treasures are not buried in the ground beneath our feet, but are waiting to be discovered in the vast, open, and limitless expanse of our own imagination. The Kepler Foundation, guided by Eva's principles, became the permanent neutral custodian of humanity's shared resources. The age of the Earth barons, of nations warring over scraps of land and fuel, was over. The Rostova asteroid was not the last of its kind. It was simply the first. A new generation of astro-miners, trained by Eva's foundation, began to ethically and sustainably harvest the solar system's boundless wealth, ensuring that scarcity would never again be a weapon used by the few against the many. And what of the old Earth barons? Stripped of their empires, they became footnotes in history books, cautionary tales of a primitive, competitive age. The chairman who had mocked Eva's space dust lived long enough to see his own grandchildren learn about the Rostovian Revolution in school. He lived in a world powered by her vision, a world made cleaner, faster, and more equitable by the very fantasy he had dismissed. It was a quiet, lifelong, and perfectly just punishment. Eva Rostova's legacy was not in the wealth she created, but in the single, profound truth she unlocked, that our limitations are not in our resources, but in our perspective. She taught us to lift our gaze from the dirt at our feet and to look at the infinite horizon. She proved that the solutions to our greatest terrestrial problems are often found in the vast, silent, and beautiful emptiness of the heavens. She was the woman who lassoed a star and gifted it to the world. She did not conquer the cosmos, she invited us to partner with it. And by doing so, she transformed humanity from a species fighting over a single finite cradle into a species with an infinite, boundless, and brilliant future among the stars.